All right, Bears Nation podcast post game after a Bears win in the preseason. Yes, it's a
Big
win. I
dogs.
don't care if it's the
Big dogs.
preseason. Myself, Kevin Lapka, alongside the one and only Kellyn Gerenstein here on a late night Bears Nation podcast episode for the second night in a row. Bears win 27-11 against the Seahawks. They were actually underdogs in this game, and I took them on the money line. I said, look, the Bears, they've got the depth, the hits principle, the Eberflus hustle. It's working out, and I took them, and I got paid. So let's go. Shout out to the Bears for giving me that money. Kellyn is here with us. Kellyn watched the game. I watched the game. We're going to give you guys our full feedback, a little bit of breakdown, and a little bit of a shorter episode. But a little post-game, just preseason, nothing too crazy. But there were some things to point out. Kellyn, you watched it, a little bit of it. Just your instant reaction, some things that stood out to you from the Bears win tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I would just talk about how I feel like we're watching a team that's coached a little better than they have been in the past. And I think you can see them reacting off of that and just, in general, playing better from top down. It's pretty exciting, I think. Like we said, it's only preseason, but there were some things I saw that like kind of made me smile, like good for them type of stuff, but I was pretty happy with that today.
Hey, that's all you're looking for is a couple of things that'll make you smile, right?
Yeah.
Because previously we're just sitting there like this the whole time, like mopey, and we're like, man, what the hell are we watching? Like, that's the reality of what watching the Bears was for the past 3 years. And the reason why, my friend texted me, he's like, how are we doing? Right? Because he works for the Yankees. The Yankees game was on. He had to, work for them. He's like, how are we doing today? And I was like, look, I don't like the Bears might not be the greatest team this year, but they're going to be a fun team to watch. Like, that was my takeaway. Like, they're going to be a fun team. They hustle, they play hard, and like these guys were flying around the field today, like defensively, offensively, like that is the one big takeaway. And Jake Hassan said, the one thing he was looking for this game was not a specific player, but how the guys were coached. And you can say what you want about it just being preseason, but if there's one thing that is evident in the preseason that will carry over to the regular season, it's how these guys are playing and their effort. And the whole hits principles that Matt Eberflus has introduced, I think has – it's been evident in these first two games, more this game than the last one against the Chiefs. But it looks like, man, they're having fun out there. They're flying to the ball. And the other thing, too, Kellyn, the Seahawks had 13 penalties for 92 yards. The Bears, 2 penalties for 10 yards. They're a disciplined football team. Are you kind of seeing the same things I am when it comes to their effort and their discipline when they're playing?
Absolutely. Same kind of thing that I just said. Like, there were some things that really made me smile. But, just – overall, like the effort, it just all seems a little bit better. Like I said, it just seems like a fun team to watch at this point.
Absolutely is. Absolutely is. And it'll make it more enjoyable. Again, if they are a 4-win team or if they're a 5-win team, if we're in that low end of that range that we kind of give them, at least it'll be fun football to watch. Let's talk first about Justin Fields and that first team offense in that first series. We'll start there. Saw some positive things, right? We did a Cole Kmet breakdown weeks ago, and we said there's a legitimate possibility this guy could be an improved tight end with 800 yards, and then we're still yet to see what he's going to do in the red zone. But that one play, right, the play action, well, there's 2 plays. Cole Kmet, 2 receptions, 35 yards on the day. One play, roll out, and it's the same drive concept we talked about at I believe it's the drive concept, right? The drive concept we talked about.
It's similar to that.
Yeah, because it was Mooney coming underneath, and then it was Cole Kmet over the top. It was similar to that, right? It was some of the things we saw when we were there at Family Fest together, and then it was Cole Kmet wide open. Justin Fields had all the time in the world because, wow, I guess you can do a designed rollout with the guy. I guess that's a thing you can do. They did it. I really liked that. Did you like what you saw in that first series, moving the pocket lot, getting Justin Fields out there on the run?
Yeah, no, that's what it should have been, and hopefully that's what it's always going to be. And obviously this is a blueprint that has worked for a lot of guys in the NFL, but there's so many things that you can do around that with an athletic quarterback. I think, once Luke Getsy comes into his own and they find out what they have as far as the offensive line, as far as the receivers go, there could be some fun things you see going on there.
Let's talk about that play in the end zone there. I texted you about it because I couldn't really tell, and they didn't show a replay of it. You're in the red zone. Well, I don't know if they're in the red zone, but they were near it, and it was, again, another rollout. Justin Fields had a lot of time. There was an absolute laser, absolute dart to the corner of the end zone. Tries to get it to Darnell Mooney a little bit over his head. I think it grazed off the fingertips of Darnell Mooney, and I texted you. I said, was that a throw that he could have made, right? Because the defender was right in front of him, and it seemed like it was a very hard throw to make. I think that's something that people are going to point out. We know how the media takes this Bear stuff and runs with it. They're going to take that and make it seem like Justin Fields had the worst preseason game in NFL history. But not on that play specifically. If people know what I'm talking about, what was your kind of breakdown of that play right there?
Yeah, I mean, I texted you that, in the red zone, it has to be my guy gets it or no one gets it. And usually when we talk about that, it's in like this well-placed, perfect ball over the shoulder, like corner of the end zone type. Well, sometimes, you're just trying to get points. It's the first drive of the game. You don't want to turn the ball over in the red zone, obviously. You're just trying to avoid
Right.
mistakes at that point. And I think because it's preseason, they're probably in his headset and just all week, like, don't run. Like, if you got to run, get down and slide. And I think he had room to run on that play. So he just probably tried to make something happen because it was preseason with his arm and tried to wait it out. But I wouldn't take too much from it. It's still an accurate ball. Could have been? Have we seen him make throws like that they could be caught? Absolutely. But again, preseason, we know he can make that play.
Yeah, absolutely. So Justin Fields, again, only played about 7 snaps. I think he was 5 for 7, like 38 yards or something. Komet had those 2 great plays. There was a screenplay to Darnell Mooney. A couple of other things that stood out to me today. Velus Jones Jr. really, really impressed me. He dropped the first ball that he caught in the opening kickoff. He muffed it, and then he picked it back up. So what didn't go down as a fumble, but he had another return. I think it was like a 50-yard return. He looked really, really fast. I saw that burst, and I was like I was thinking, I'll put it this way. I didn't think as much about his potential as a returner this offseason. I think I should have. Like, we were talking about what he could do as a receiver, and I think we kind of ignored or just didn't, acknowledge it at the time that, like, his main value to this team, at least initially, could be as a return. I think he might be really good at it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's what he was one of the best things at in college in the SEC
Correct.
too, over there at Tennessee. So it is something we overlooked. And we as Bears fans, obviously, we love having a good returner. Me and you grew up on it, so it's always going to be special for us. But that's another thing I think I didn't say was the Bears special teams tonight was pretty good in my opinion. Yeah,
scored a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
They took advantage of a muff punt by the Seahawks in the third quarter. In the end, it got messy. I don't know if you turned it off in the fourth quarter there at the end, but it was what was it? Tuggle, DeMonte Tuggle. I think he actually went to Ohio University. Ran into Dez Newsome, and Dez Newsome muffed it. And again, that's not on Dez. He just ran into him. So things got sloppy in the end. But yeah, special teams was good. Trenton Gill continues to impress. The hang time and his punts are great. He's getting the ball down inside the 5. Yeah. And look, the Bears rookie class so far, like, very, very impressive. And it was very interesting to me was after that first series, there was, only a couple of starters taken out. 4 of those guys were Cole Kmet, Darnell Mooney, Justin Fields, and the 4th one was Braxton Jones. Yeah. So that should tell you everything you need to know about how they or what they project him to be. And I think you can safely say right now, Kellyn, he's going to be the week 1 left tackle.
Absolutely, 100%.
Lock it in. Kellyn's locking it in. We're going to lock it in here. A couple other guys that look good to me. You talked about him a couple of weeks ago at Family Fest, or I guess that was just about 10 days ago. You said he might be a little bit of a sneaker pick to make the roster. And Simba Webster, I thought, looked really good. He had a nice 60-yard return, but he also made some nice plays. What'd you see from Simba Webster tonight? Did you like that?
Yeah, man. There was one play in the beginning of the game, and he kind of got caught right before he was about to score a touchdown. And I think, like, those are the plays that if you want to make an NFL roster, like, you can't get stopped at the 1. Like, you just got to fight your way in. And It's tough for him because he's small. That's just not his skill set. But outside of that, yeah, I thought he looked good. I mean, all in camp at Family Fest and the day I went without you the week before that, I thought he was a solid football player. It's just hard to find a spot for him on a special teams, especially since he's so small. You know what I mean? That's going to be his big problem.
Big problem. And him and Daz, I think, are going to be fighting it out for maybe that last spot on the roster. And Daz had a couple nice plays today, too. So it'll be interesting to see where they go with that one. Who has the higher upside as a returner could be the kicker there is sort of the backup returner. Let's talk about a few other guys. And let's start with this guy. All right. We did this was one of our longer breakdown videos because we did it live. I think it was like an hour and a half. Dominique Robinson, especially in that fourth quarter, was taking over. If you guys watched the last series of that game, and I guess you got to watch like NFL Plus nowadays. Is that how you even access the?
I don't even know.
Like, I don't even know. Like, do they even have all 22 footage anymore without having to subscribe? Like, is Game Pass gone?
But it's not good. It's very bad.
Yeah, it's been bad. So, but Dominique Robinson, man, and they were drooling over him on the broadcast. The broadcast was kind of annoying me at times, but Luis Riddick was talking about him, and we've talked about him. This was your guy. You were so high on him the moment he was drafted, and he seems to be rising up the ranks, playing well again. He's going to need some development. He hasn't played a whole lot of edge in his career, a whole lot of defensive in his career, but boy, was he looking good out there.
Yeah. I think he's everything we thought he was going to be, right? Is a little bit raw.
Yes.
but super athletic and a guy that should do really well against backup O-linemen in the NFL. That doesn't necessarily mean he's ready to take this next step, but obviously this first year is going to be really critical for him to learn from obviously a guy like Robert Quinn, but just to understand how everything on that defensive line works because he's so new to the position and he's never played it to a level as close as he is right now. But he's going to be fun in the future.
He's going to be really fun, man. You can just see that explosiveness. I mean, that was the number one thing we pointed out when we were talking about it in the breakdown video was, man, he's explosive off the line. He's actually got a good amount of power, too. Like, he's got power, and he can physically dominate guys. Like, we know his athleticism is going to be what's going to make him stand out at that position, right? Because he's, former prep school quarterback and a wide receiver for a couple years in Miami, Ohio. So we know the athleticism is there. But there's, like, legitimate strength and power evident as well. Absolutely. Like, it's not just like a Leonard Floyd type deal. I know he said he wants to model his game off of Leonard Floyd, but he's not just trying to use finesse and pure athleticism and is going to get manhandled by a bigger offensive lineman. Like, he's going to go up to that guy and take him on. A few other guys I thought looked good. I actually thought Al-Qadim Muhammad looked really good. That's a guy that kind of has flown under the radar, kind of an under the radar signing all of the offseason. We heard the name at the beginning, and then you haven't heard a lot about him. Wearing number 55, I was like, man, he looked really good to me. Did you see the same things that I saw with Al-Qadim Muhammad?
Yeah, no, I think he looked like that last week too. I just think in general right now he's just playing so comfortable, in a defense he's played with his entire defensive staff almost, he's played with last year and had a career with. So I think right now there's a comfortability with him as outside of just being a good player. But no, I thought he looked good. And I told you after that first camp, I was like, this D-line might shock people. They got some dudes on there that look like they're playing.
You called it, and ever since you have said that, I've been watching these games with kind of a different different lens, right? I've been looking at these guys, and I've been like, man, like Kellyn sees something in these guys, and I was like, damn, I kind of do too. Like even Angelo Blackson up the middle had some really nice plays that he had tipped ball. He had a really nice tackle for loss there. Like I think you're right that's a very, very underrated unit, and then it's like we completely forget. I think we've talked about this before. You and I have that like Robert Quinn's a top 10 edge rusher in the league right now. Like. I think he is, and it's hard to argue that when he had 19 or 19 and a half sacks last year. Like, how can you say he's not? So it's a very, very underrated unit. Defense looked really good today, allowing only 3 points until 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and then the Seahawks got the onside kick recovery. It almost looked like they're going to try to put up. And then they
called those three timeouts. I saw them call 3 timeouts like on the QB kneels. Like that was terrible. And the Bears ended up running the ball, and it's like I was like, man, if a guy got injured on one of those plays, Pete Carroll should be banned from the NFL. Like, dude, what are you doing, dude? Like, it's preseason game 2. You're down 16 points. You're taking timeouts. Yeah.
Why are you? What? There's literally no reason to do that. But again, Bears got that win. Anyone else stand out to you? I thought DeMarquise Gates had a couple nice plays. Again, the free agent picker from the USFL. Who was previously undrafted by the Cleveland Browns. He's come in here and he's kind of an undersized guy, but he was making some plays. He looked fast. He looked quick. He looked athletic. I liked what I saw from DeMarquise Gates, but anyone else stand out for you that you think could be, sort of rising up the ranks here as final cuts approach?
As far as the bottom of the roster, I think it's tough to say. I would say that just watching Kyla Gordon tonight, I thought he looked pretty much the part. I thought he played the part pretty well. He looks like he's made for the business. That was good to see. But I know that we're in the preseason and he had limited snaps, and you probably want to hear about someone low on the roster, but that was our first look at him, and that was a pretty good look in my opinion.
And Kyla Gordon, one play that stood out to me, I don't know if you saw this one. I don't know if he was on I think he might have been on a blitz, and he played slot the whole game, I believe. I'm pretty sure he was in the slot the whole game, which is very, very interesting. But he's coming off of a corner blitz, and he's just chasing down who was at the time Geno Smith was in the game. Geno Smith's a pretty fast guy. He's not the fastest quarterback in the league. Yeah, he's still pretty spry. And Kyla Gordon just zooming over there, and I'm like, this is what I've been waiting to see, because when you talk about, like, we say, you and I say, this is a fun team, right? This is a team that has a little bit of effort, that might be a little fun. Well, where's that come from? It comes from guys like Kyla Gordon who are really, really athletic and really, really special when it comes to their athletic abilities, that are just going to make the game fun because they're going to make exciting plays like that. And you really look across the roster, like, I see a very, very, very athletic roster. Like, that's the number one thing that stands out to me is, like, they were very quick to every ball. They were very quick to the defense was very quick to every ball carrier. Like, and obviously we know what the offense is from it. Like, could this be one of the fastest offenses in the NFL? Like, if you really broke it down, you have one of the fastest quarterbacks in the NFL. You have an extremely fast receiving core as a whole, and Darnell Mooney, Byron Pringle, Velus Jones Jr., Equinemius St. Brown. You got guys who are all, and Simba Webster, if it is, a bunch of speedsters. Dave Montgomery is fast. He's not the fastest,
Yeah.
Could this be one of the faster offensive units in the NFL?
I hope so. I think if you get a lot out of those top 3 receivers, Velus Jones, Darnell Mooney, and Byron Pringle, if you get a lot out of them, probably as much as they should get, then yeah, absolutely. I think he'd be one of the fastest. And Cole Kmet is, as much as I diss on the pick, he is kind of coming into his own now. You can tell he's becoming a bigger part of the offense, and they're trying to find ways to get him the ball. And he's really good with the ball in space, with the ball in his hands and just running. He's got to be one of the best run after catch tight ends in the league.
And he did it today on a screen pass. He broke a couple tackles. Talk about the ball in space. Well, no, talk about the ball when he's got the ball and there's 8 defenders running him. He's going to find a way to get extra yards. That's what he's doing. And Kellyn, I'm not going to lie to you. I tweeted something after the first quarter, and I do this because I'm reactionary, and this is just what I do. I tweet stuff, and then a couple hours later, I'm like, well, maybe I shouldn't have said that because it was reactionary. I said something along the lines of, I freaking love Cole Kmet. I'm all in now. I'm up at Kellyn. Look, and I'll always look. I've always been on your side. We've been on the same side on this the whole time about, look, we thought that at that time there could have been better options to be selected at that point.
Right.
It doesn't mean we don't think Cole Kmet can be a good tight end. We thought where he was drafted was too high.
Yeah.
Completely independent of how we evaluate Cole Kmet as a player. But this is who he is. This is the situation we're in. It's been 2 years now since then. I'm all in. I love the way he plays because after that reception on that one play, that 30-yard reception or something, it's a preseason game. And he goes off the sideline. He's like, let's go. He's yelling. He's like, let's go. He's like, right? I'm like, come on, man. Give me that. Give me that.
They just seem like they're having more fun playing football this year. That's how I feel when I'm watching all of them.
I wonder why. Wonder why, right? It's not when you have success, you have fun, but also just the way you operate on a day-to-day basis, it makes you want to be in the building more. It makes you want to be a better football player when you have a competent coach, when you have a coach who's willing to help you develop. All of those things are true. And we've been saying this is true for 4 years. And I feel like no one believed us, but now they're starting to believe us because they see what it's like when you have somebody different, right? They see what it's like when you have a competent coach who's going to develop the guys and, make this a more effort-filled football team, and that's what they are. So, again, Bears win 27-11. Final takeaways for you, Kellyn, from tonight's win.
I think this offense, we're still going to have to be a little bit patient with it. I think there's going to be times where Justin, as a rookie, is going to over-rely on his athleticism. I think we all kind of know that. But as far as the game goes, I think he'll be fine. The Bears have a pretty deep roster. We say that we're only as good as our weakest link. Well, the Bears' weakest links are pretty good. They just had to come back last week, and then they were pretty strong tonight. They're going to be pretty solid. They're a deep football team. Now, the problem is that there probably should be a drop-off from your 1s to your 2s if you're a solid football team at the top. But, we take the Bears for a 7-8 win team this year. We're not saying that if they make the playoffs, Justin Fields a magician. That's what we're saying. That's just as simple as that. And Matt Eberflus is coach of the year. Period.
You tell him, Kellyn. Tell him. But I see the same things you see, man. The depth, they might have the best depth in the league. All right. They're manhandling people. Not actually, but the depth has been encouraging.
They were beating them pretty good tonight, man.
They were look, the Lions in 2008 went 4-0 in the preseason and ended up going on with 16.
Right.
All right. So, I'm not going to say that 2 wins makes them a playoff team. 2 wins in the preseason makes them a playoff team. But I think you can kind of see that they're not so many people this offseason have put them in the same tier as the Seahawks and the Falcons and the Jets and the Giants and the Jets, the bottom feeders of the NFL.
Yeah.
I don't think the Bears are in the same tier as them. Even if they're just 1 tier above them, I don't think they're in that bottom feeder tier. And I think that was evident tonight. The way they carried themselves all game, how disciplined they were from first string to third string, just manhandling them all over the field, imposing their will. It looked like a team that is not in the same tier as those other teams. Would you agree?
I agree.
Yeah. And it's been there are people in our TikTok comments, Kellyn, who are saying that the Bears are an 0-17 team, legitimately. And I'm no, that's not the case. I was gonna have you rank 5 particular wide receivers, but we'll save that for next time. I'll spare you. I'll spare you the heat on TikTok, Kellyn. You don't deserve it. You don't deserve it. Little quick episode for you guys. Appreciate you all tuning in here on a late night, 10:51 on the Central Time and 11:52 now on the East Coast for our guy Kellyn back at the Ohio State University, tearing it up for the Ohio State football club team, going crazy. OHIO, yes sir. Love to see it. I will miss not being there. I have already started to feel a little bit jealous.
I'm gonna miss it when I leave too. There. I saw people walking around campus. It's like, this is cool. This is nice.
It's cool. It's always a good feeling. And we're feeling good tonight if the Bears win 27-11. That makes them 2-0 on the preseason. They next take on the Browns on, I believe, August 27th or something. It's a little bit of a longer break. They got kind of screwed by having the Thursday game after a Saturday game, but they'll be back, and we'll be back next week to talk about that game. Myself, Kyla, Lapka, alongside Kyla Gordon. Thanks for hopping on late, man. Go to the bar. It's Thursday night. It's Thursday. You just had football practice. You owe yourself a couple of drinks, my man. All right, we'll see you next time. Right. See you later, buddy.